Here we have a Gigabyte RTX 3090 that was mailed over from Dubai. All the way from Dubai. Gigabyte RTX 3090 G1. Let's read what the customer wrote. Description: out of the blues, no warning, no signs, my RTX 3090 dropped dead while I was streaming. It doesn't power on, not even gets power. Tried different systems, different everything. It just won't turn on. That's what they all say. Every single video card that we get here, it's the same description. It's a great video card, very nice video card, and it's an expensive one. So out of the blues, the video card stopped turning on. The first thing I want to do is quickly measure the major voltage rails on the board. We're going to measure in continuity mode. I just want to see if we have short to ground anywhere on the board. Let's start by measuring PCI Express voltage rails down on the bottom here. 480 ohms, and here we have 3.4 kilo ohms. That's great. Our 1.8 volt line here, and right now we have 229 ohms. Usually on different model video card we get a much higher reading, but on this one I got a 250 on a previous one that I was working on, so I'm gonna assume that the reading is good. Let's go to our, let me test our 12 volt line. Meter in continuity mode. One probe is touching ground, and look at that, we have a short. What about the second 12 volt line? The second one here, we are getting a 450 ohm reading, 450. But the other 12 volt line is reading a short. And if this one is reading a short, most likely we have a blown fuse. My probe is still on ground, and I'm getting, oh well, no reading. Whereas if we go here, we get a beep, short, because this fuse is connecting here, and this line is short into ground. So we have a blown fuse and we have a short on our 12 volt line. I mean, right now I do not need to test further. We have a short on our 12 volt line, and it's a little bit tricky for this one because a short could be caused by any one of the MOSFETs that you see here. We're gonna have to narrow it down. Let me plug the board in, and we're gonna test it that way and see what happens. I just want to measure some voltages while we have it plugged in. So right now our two 12 volt lines are plugged in to this back plate, and the back plate has those two 12 volt cables that we're gonna have to plug onto the board. Power supply on, and we're gonna turn that board on. And if the board is not being detected by the motherboard, it will beep 6 times. Like now, it's beeping 6 times because it's not being detected by the system. So let's put the meter in voltage mode. Ground probe, we're gonna leave it here. And now let's go ahead and test the first 12 volt line, the first inductor. And we do have 12.20 volts, which is good. And the second inductor, 0. The reason is we did measure a short on that inductor, and that's why we are reading a 0. The line is short into ground. If we test our 1.8 volt line, we get nothing. And of course, if we do not have 1.8 volts, we're not going to have fax, we're not going to have memory, and the rest. Okay, so without wasting too much time, let's go ahead and see why we have a short on one of the 12 volt rails. Disconnect, disconnect. We need to fix that before anything else. Let's go ahead and do a quick physical inspection. Maybe we are able to tell what's going on by just doing physical inspection. I want to look for possibly blown components, burn marks, missing component, ripped off component, discolored area on the board, maybe a solder ball popping out of a component or MOSFET. All those could be signs of possible issues. A bad MOSFET does not necessarily have to look bad. I'm just quickly scanning through. No burn marks here. And a lot of times people knock off components from near the PCIe slot here, but we do not have any nearby components. Let's go ahead and measure this fuse just to make sure it's good. And it's good. We have more MOSFETs here. And honestly, I do not see anything obvious at all. Nothing. We said that this fuse is blown. And yes. What about the second one? The second one is good. Okay, so we have a short on one of our 12-volt inputs. Right here. And this one is fine. This one and this fuse is okay, but this one is short into ground and this fuse is blown. I mean, right now it's difficult to know where the short is coming from. What I'm going to do is inject voltage right here. I'm going to inject about probably we'll start with 0.8 volts. And I'm going to monitor the board under a thermal cam and see what gets hot. Maybe we'll be able to easily figure out where the short is coming from. So we're going to use this power injection tool. For those of you wondering, this one is sold on our site. We still have about 20 pieces left. We do have a shipment coming in probably 2-3 weeks from now. But this one we can control both voltage and current. Right now I have maximum current at 10 amps. I'm going to keep it that way for now. And voltage, I'm going to set it down to maybe 0.8 volts. Let me just point the probe to the coil and see if anything gets hot. Okay, so if I put my probe remove the probe. Okay, did you see it? Watch. I'm gonna put the probe. I was able to locate it. Right there. Right here. Watch. Right here. Okay. Let me put the thermal cam on the side. I'm gonna mark this MOSFET with an X. I mean, it's just slight heat. I can probably increase the voltage on this power injection tool, but 0.8 is good, and I was able to see which component is getting hot, and I marked it with an X. Let's go ahead and remove it. We are right next to those aluminum capacitors. We have to be careful. And just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna wear my goggles because you saw what happened in a previous video that we did working on a video card. So I'm gonna try to point away from those aluminum capacitors. I do have my goggles on. And the board will absorb a lot of heat. So it will take a lot of heat to desolder this MOSFET. I did not preheat the board. I'm just going to apply heat until we are able to remove this MOSFET. And I'm pointing away from those capacitors. But who knows? Maybe heat may spill and one of them may pop. Nobody knows. Keep your eyes open in case there's a firework show. Solder already liquefied from the sides here. All right, and the chip is out. And now we're gonna have to see if the short is gone. Did the thermal camera lie to us? We're gonna have to find out. Let's wait until the board cools down a bit. Black probe on ground, meter in continuity mode, like we have it now. And let's test at the inductor that was short into ground. The short is gone. The short is gone. Meter in resistance mode. Let's see what resistance we get. 0.7 mega ohms. We did it. We solved the problem. RTX 3090 from Dubai. Man, the customer is gonna be happy. We solved the problem in a few minutes. Right now what I'm going to do is jump that fuse just so we can test and see what happens. Where is the fuse? Right there. We're gonna run a jumper on that fuse and we're gonna test. The short is released and there's a very good chance that this video card is gonna work. The power of voltage injection and a thermal cam. Wow. Just imagine how long it would have taken if it wasn't for voltage injection and a thermal cam. That's how you work smart. You do not work hard, but you work smart. The heat on the MOSFET was so minimal that it would have been impossible to find that MOSFET with, let's say, alcohol. Very minute. Hopefully we're not gonna burn out the store by jumping this wire, but we did confirm that we do not have a short, so it should not be a problem. But anyway, I'm gonna keep my finger on the power supply power button. In case something happens, we can just shut it off. Making a jumper on a fuse is absolutely not safe if you do not know what you're doing. You can honestly create fire by doing this if you're not careful. So right now we're gonna plug that video card and we're gonna have to be careful. I'm gonna wear my goggles and I'm gonna keep my finger on the power button of the power supply. If something happens, we're gonna shut it off quick. Okay, so right now we did not replace that MOSFET, but I just wanna see if we still get the 6 beeps. 6 beeps is an indication that the card is not being detected, and that was the initial problem. And we're gonna also measure to see if we have 12 volts now on that second inductor. So I'm gonna keep my finger on that power button of the power supply, just in case. Right now I know we do not have a short anymore, but still, I wanna be careful. And the motherboard is on. No smoke, no fire. You heard? Trrr, trrr. A sequence of fast beeps in 2 portions. Let's try this again. And that's probably because we do not have that MOSFET put back. One more time. Let's go ahead and measure. Meter in voltage mode. And maybe we can do this. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna measure inductor number 1, and we should have 12 volts like before. And we do have 12.27. Let's measure inductor number 2, and we had a short on that inductor. And now look at that, we have 12.27. I can safely remove those goggles now. 12.27. We have 1.8. We are all good, but we need to replace that MOSFET. And honestly, I do not know what that MOSFET is. And I do not know if I can grab one from a donor board. Big Boss already left, and I have a lot of donor video cards inside, but we need to open them. And right now it's already closing time. I do not want to have to open video cards to locate this chip. So I'm gonna quickly take a look if I have anything close to me. This is not the same. And these are donor boards. And this one does not contain the same MOSFETs. The MOSFET, the number on the MOSFET is AL000U1N. I did not look up this chip, but if you know what this chip is, you can leave it down in the comments. And I'll probably order a large batch of those. We have a lot of RTX 3080s and 3090s that we need to fix. And we do not know if the rest have similar problems. But right now, that's the problem right there. The AL000U1N. And I just wish I have a MOSFET so we can complete this video. I was hoping to get a functional video card before I go home. We cannot use those. And I do not want to have to spend the time to open up a video card right now, and I do not even know which video card has a similar MOSFET. We do have a lot of RTX video cards here. We have the 2060, (980), 1080. And we have a lot. We have an RTX 3070. Most likely this one has the MOSFET. But I'd rather not take it off a customer's board and test. I'd rather just buy the MOSFET and do it. But we do have a lot of video cards here. A lot of them. Right now I think we have about 140 video cards that we need to fix. This is the 2070. This one is the 3090, 2070, 3070, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on, never ending. And we have some more here. This one is the 1080 Ti, and this one is the 3080. And Big Boss has a couple of them open, but they do not share the same MOSFETs. I do have some donors inside here. I have a lot of donors inside here. This one is the 1070 Ti, and none of them are open. Okay, bummer. We're gonna have to leave this until we order that MOSFET. We're gonna have to do part 2 of this video because I do not have that part. And right now I do not feel like taking that part off a customer's graphics card in order to fix this one. I do not want to do that. We do have a lot of donor boards inside, but I do not want to have to spend another hour to see which one has the same MOSFET and take them apart. It's already closing time. So we're gonna have to do part 2 on this one. If you know what this chip is, just write it down in the comments or leave a link. Today is Saturday, tomorrow is Sunday. I recorded about 5 videos today. One of them is iPad 8th Gen, not charging, Nintendo Switch, 2 PS4s, and what else did I record? I recorded 5 videos, I forgot. We're gonna have a video today, probably this one, and I'll have a video for you tomorrow, Sunday. I do not work on Sunday, but I do have a lot of recorded videos. If I have time, I'll post one tomorrow. If not, then I will see you on Monday. That's it. We're gonna end it right here. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll do something else in the next video.